I'm Autumn Witch and I'm painting a dwarf. Painty, painty dwarf, painty, painty dwarf. I'm Autumn Witch and I'm painting. Howdy folks, Autumn Witch here, and as the release for the old world gets tantalisingly closer, although no one's told us exactly when, I have decided to revisit the very first Warhammer miniatures I ever bought. The year was 1995, and a young Autumn Witch wandered into a model shop in Cambridge and caught sight of this box of plastic joy. Pocket money parted with, I rushed home to paint them. Badly. But now, 28 years on, can I do these sculpts justice? I based them with the larger bases for the new edition of the Old World. Or I suppose technically it's the first edition of the Old World. Just cause. I couldn't find any shields for them, but I think they still look cool without them. I think I found some accurate files that I can 3D print, so I may add them later, but I'm not using them in this video. I'll be using modern contrast paint, mostly contrast paint on them, but I chose to go with all over white undercoats instead of my usual zenithal. In this era all minis were just primed white, which was the style at the time. I grabbed a selection of contrast paints which will cover the majority of the models. I chose to limit myself to just a handful of colours to make the unit look cohesive but with enough potential to add a little variety to these single pose sculpts. I then ensure my brushes are well and truly licked before I start, because I can lick anything and make it better. I am painting these for my own personal hobby joy. There are only so many chonky super masculine space marines a middle-aged queer woman with nerve damage can paint before she starts to fall to the ruinous powers. Slaanesh. It's gonna be Slaanesh. At this point, I'm just circling the drain. Snakebite leather. This is a nice earthy brown and will work as a natural dyed fabric, as well as leather and hair. The sculpts may be simple, but there are enough parts to pick out in different colours. Their boots, their tunics, their belts, their hoods, the little pouches, axe hafts, yes, hafts. I assembly line them. One gets his tunic done, the next his boots, the next his hood, etc, etc ad nauseam. I repeat the steps with other colours: Militarum green, Imperial Fist, and Ultramarines blue. I also use Snakebite leather, Administratum grey and Apothecary white on their beards and their bushy little eyebrows poking out from under their little helmets. Now for some layer paints. I grab a dark and a light flesh colour from the Vallejo skin colour set and create a gradient of them on my palette so that each dwarf has a slightly different skin tone. I block in their hands, faces, and that sneakily hidden bottom lip, hidden behind those bushy beards. Given the identical sculpts, it's always good to add as much variety to the paint job as you can. To add some shading and to better tie the disparate colours together, each dwarf gets a coat of Seraphim Sepia, making sure it doesn't pool, although with these models there's not really much for it to pool around. Then a very light dry brush of Vallejo Bone White to catch the edges on the entire mini. I hate edge highlighting and I am painting these for fun. These sculpts are so simple that dry brushing is all that is really needed in that regard. Don't get me wrong, I adore modern GW's quality and detail, but there is something about these old units, all monopose and simply detailed, that works so well in a rank and flank style setting. The metal parts get Stormhost silver, followed by a coat of Basilicanum grey, which I smudge off the raised details with a finger. A smudgy finger makes everything better. I paint the bases with Warboss Green, which is a near enough match to the old Goblin Green, for my tastes anyway. Then I grab Vallejo Bone White again, and paint in the whites of their eyes. I then come in with a fine handwriting pen to dot the pupils. Any slips are easily covered up with some flesh colour, although I do like the slightly berserk look that uneven eyes can give them. I apologise if you can't see this very well. 'Twas a bugger to do it neatly and film it at the same time. I think I get the gist across though. I decided to go with a more modern take on the actual basing, using Geek Gaming Scrublands as it matches my gaming mat. I stick this down with Geek Gaming's fast drying sticky glue stuff. It's really good. I just felt the slightly more modern, grimier finish would just look daft with goblin green and yellow sand. I shall leave you with some beauty shots, but before that I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe. We've had quite the influx of new subs and it would be great to hit 500 by the end of this month. I'm Autumn Witch and I will catch you next time on Bleeding Tree Gaming.